You're welcome today. Awesome morning, beautiful day. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. For those of us that are streaming live across all channels, we're streaming live on Facebook, we're streaming live on Instagram, and on YouTube and in Clubhouse. You're welcome today. Get in the room. Today's day 3. We're going to bring value to you today. If you have been following me from day 1, right, this is a very, very interesting day, and I'm super excited to introduce what we have today, right? Today's day 3. And guess what? Today is an amazing day, and I want you to understand something quite well, right? What we want to be talking about basically today is, the hidden value you've been overcoming, right? The hidden value you've been overcoming. And our anchor scripture for today is 2 Kings 4:1-7, right? We're going to be talking about the widow and the oil. The widow and the oil. The challenge is, what do you have in your hand? It's a 5-day challenge to identify what you have, the skill set you have, the value you have, the abilities you have, the giftings that you have that God has given to you. So that's what we're going to be honing on. And I'm welcoming you on this day. If you want to share and get people invited, get your friends in the room, get your family in the room, get those that this will impact in the room, right? Get as many people in the room because it's going to be transformational. And guess what? You want to get a paper and grab a note and a pen, because we're going to be doing practical stuff. Remember, it's actually a challenge to help you get clarity as to what skill set that you have that you can transform into getting wealth, right? So welcome to day 3 of What's in Your Hand challenge. My name is Helen Orejobi. For those of us that will be watching this on other days, and today we're going to uncover what you've been, sleeping on. A lot of us are sleeping on a lot of skill set, the grace upon our life, the value, the ideas, the experience, most of us, overlook what we have and we call it ordinary, right? If you were born into the earth, you came with substance. That's why I always say, observe young children when they get born into the earth. The very first time they show up, they come with their hands folded. That's because they carry a lot of potential. That is the value you bring into the world. That is your gift. And some parents need to be on alert not to allow people to steal what your kids come in with. Everybody was born with something, right? But guess what? Most people in the kingdom side, we call it the oil on you, right? Some people call it your glory. Some people call it your blessing. Some people call it your aura. Some people call it different things, your energy, right? So guess what? By the end of today, the transformation promise that I'm giving you is, after watching and listening to me, if you're going to watch this video on another day, right? Guess what? You will stop doubting what you have in your hands, right? You will stop doubting that thing, that gifting that God has placed in your hands, and you begin to use it for the real thing that He has called you for, and start recognizing it as an answer. Why? Because it's an answer to somebody else's issue, their challenges, their problems. It will give you income. It will create, impact in the lives of a lot of people and to generations and legacies, down the line. So you want to stick with me on this one, and let's get you to identify that giftings that God has given to you, right? So I'm going to give you a quick recap of what we did yesterday. So yesterday we talked about recognizing our unique advantages, right? I shared a story about my own voice and how I, dismiss it at first, and until I started using it to teach and to coach and to speak and to lead. That was when I stepped into my place of calling. So what is that story that you have? We talked about your story, right? We gave you 3 framework, right? The 3 S. We talked about your struggle, and then guess what? The strategy that you're going to use to sustain what you're doing, and then the shifts, right? Now, guess what? You need to understand your struggle, the structure, and the shift. You need to understand your story has, an impact in the life of somebody else. You might say, oh my God, my story is ugly, my story is old, my story is useless. But guess what? Your story is a blueprint to somebody else's answer. If you share that story, in your story, there is a struggle, there is the shift, and there's the structure, and there's the shift that you came out from, right? That shift is going to motivate somebody. because maybe they are at ground zero right now, and then you're at your 10, you're level 10. You're going to encourage people at ground zero that, hey, don't worry, I once used to be in ground zero, but right now I went through the journey. I allowed my moment, I allowed myself to go through the fire. Guess what? Just like a rough diamond, you have to go through the fire. You have to go through the pruning. You have to go through the heat. You have to go through the heating and every blows you took while you were on your journey, your struggle journey. I told you yesterday, you need to document everything about yourself, right? And then guess what? Once you get to that place of shift, when you are now at your place of rest or at that comfort level, guess what? That's when you begin to lose that. People now want you, but they didn't see you at your struggle level when you were going through what you're going through. As a matter of fact, a lot of people will be worried about you. They'll be like, man, I don't think I can handle what she or he went through, right? So you need to understand there's a uniqueness in your story. And if you were able to go through that process and you came out, if you're listening to me today, you did survive it. And it's for a reason. You are supposed to uplift someone with that story and take them to the next level, right? So you explored your natural talent with me yesterday because I gave you some workbook from day one, day two. Today is day three, and we have another workbook that we're going to bring to you, right? If you need those workbook, you want to DM me and we'll get it to you. But guess what? If you're a lady listening to me right now, I have a book in my bio, right? If you're listening to me on YouTube, click the link, you'll get the book. It has everything in depth. It's giving you 10 kingdom principles that you need to unlock your giftings, because most people have a lot. Maybe you don't even know how to use it. You have a lot of gifts. You want to make sure that you are able to use it to achieve those things that I mentioned. It could be for impact, it could be for income, and it could be that you are the one that is going to unlock generational wealth for your family and your lineage down the line, right? So you reach out and get that book. It's going to have all the workbook and it's going to bless you, and I want to see your feedback, right? And some of you reach out with potential aha moments after you wrote those things down because you were supposed to record those items, right? So real quick, we're going to go to day three. The focus for today, right, like the subject or the topic that I put there is the hidden value, right? The hidden value. And I told you right now, we're going to unpack the story of the widow's oil in 2 Kings chapter 4, 1-7, right? Now, what you're going to pick from this story is, the servant of God went to her and he said, what do you have in your house? Most of you have a lot of things that you have in your house that you're not utilizing. Some of you listen to me right now, you have a smartphone. Other people are using it for income, but you are using it for something else. It's not your fault because, hey, you work so hard, you deserve the best. See what I mean? But guess what? What if that phone could be a tool in your hand instead of being a weapon of distraction? Because it can do two things. It can be a tool for you to impact lives. And then if you give value, what wealthy people have succeeded in doing, they have understood the act of giving value. I told us yesterday, turn the selfie camera away from you. And then guess what? You want to use the camera to focus on other people. If you take the focus off you and you focus on people, you're going to be giving impact. You're going to make money. You're going to make money at the end because people exchange money for value. If you haven't identified how to package the value that you have, you have giftings. That's why you're here today. We're going to try to unlock that with little exercise and the things that I'm going to tell you. Now, guess what? You're going to be moving to your next level, right? Another thing is nothing. She said nothing. Right? Most of us have so much in our homes. You don't even know that your home can be a set. Most people shoot skits. They shoot movies. They do things from the comfort of their home. Some of you have the best of homes because I don't blame you. Your home is your little kingdom, is your safe space. So you spend time to make it feel as safe as possible and as beautiful as possible. But what if you have something in there that you could use to make income? Now, I always teach people because I'm in a financial space and I always talk about how to save and how to, harness what you have and turn that into income generating. Guess what? A lot of things that we have is a liability. If you have a home and guess what? You're the only one in there. You're the only one paying the bills and all that. You need to understand that you're working to pay bills. But what if you could transform that particular asset into the property that you have? What if you can transform it into an income generating asset? What do you think that would do for you, right? And most of you have the best cars ever. You want to be seen with the best and luxury stuff. I don't blame you. Most people say life is too short, so why not, right? But why are we really working? Why do we work? Why do we hustle? Why do we do what we do? It's simply because we want to make an impact and we need money. That's the reason why we do what we do, basically. The reason why we go out every day to a 9 to 5 is because you're going to exchange the value that you have from the skill set that you have. Is either you went to school to learn those skills, or you actually, got it by training or by experience. Now, if your employer doesn't exchange or doesn't see value in the giftings and in the job that you have, the services that you render them, trust me, everybody's on contract, but most of us, we are on contract, as a W-2 earner. We're on contract as a salary earner, but other people are on contract as a contractor. That's why you have, W-2 and you have the 1099, right? So you decide how you want to be paid, right? Once you start placing value on the skill set that you have, guess what? Nobody wants to pay you money for nothing. They're paying you because you are a guru in what you do. You are an expert in that thing. That's why they're paying you for that period, right? If it's for 30 hours you're exchanging, most people do multiple shifts. Your employer is paying you for that time. So you need to identify that, hey, if I step out of my house every day and I'm going to exchange this value, because of what? In return of giving the value, I'm expecting to get a return. In return, now we're talking about your numeration, we're talking about your commissions, we're talking about your payments, your salaries. It could either be daily pay, it could be bi-weekly, it could be once a month, right? Most of you get a contract lump sum, but it's tied. Your income, your value, your skill, your giftings is tied to you earning money. So that's what I want you to understand right now. So guess what? The servant of God asked her, what do you have in your house? And she said, nothing except a small jar of oil. A small jar of oil is more than enough. Most of us have gifts, but you downplay the gifts that God has given to you because you think it's small, you think it's irrelevant, you think it doesn't have value, right? So her lack of, shouting louder than her resources made her to think that way. She lacked the understanding that, guess what? No matter whatever you have, even if it's little, if God can multiply, things, and was able to feed those numbers, the large crowd of people with, the loaf of bread and, the fish that he had, the limited resources, and was able to feed that multitude, right? If he can turn water into wine, he can turn your situation and make it move. But you have to be willing to, avail that gift for God to use. So what is that thing? As I'm talking right now, I said, get a note. You want to, after this whole thing, we could be talking for 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 1 hour, depending on how the Spirit leads me. I want you to write it down and go and write it down, right? Remember, if you need the workbook for day 1, day 2, you got to only DM me, and guess what? We're going to send it to you. But what you want to do, you want to do that. You want to identify it. It's between you and you. It's not between you and your boss, you and your friends, you and your spouse, you and your children, you and your colleagues, you and your family members, no, or your best friend. It's between you and God. You want to sit down in a quiet space and think this thing through, because you could lie to everybody else, you could fake it. I know they say fake it till you make it, but you cannot fake it. It's when you start faking it and in reality that, hey, I'm not here but I'm faking it, right? Then that's where you have a problem. But you more than anybody else, right? So Elijah didn't bring new oil, he helped her see what she already had. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, because most people are really, they're thinking, okay, maybe if I go get another skill, maybe if I can do this, maybe if I can do that, maybe if I can get that degree, the extra course, if I can just go get, this and that, maybe I'm waiting to start talking, if I can get a ring light, or I can get, an iPhone. But what happened to the one you already have? You can start where you are. And once you start where you are, the resources will come and then you grow. Because guess what? If you jump, you will fall. But if you allow yourself to go through the process, that's why experience is a big deal. Those people that have experience, trust me, I would employ them 100% of the time, because I don't want to play, I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't want to play. Nobody has time to waste. Time is a resource you don't want to waste. So your miracle is basically in, never, your miracle is never in what you lost, right? I see that. Yeah, I see that comment you're putting out there. Yeah, I'm Zoom as well. I'm on Zoom. So guess what? At the end of this, you're going to get clarity, right? Your miracle is never in what you lost. If you know this, you have peace. It's in what you have left. So, what is that little oil? What is that tiny thing that you can pour? I have a little oil, a jar of oil here, right? For some reason, I do have oil here. So, you can imagine that this oil, if I take this little bit of oil and I pour it in a bigger jar, are you aware that this little oil, infiltrate that oil and I can still get the blessings that I need, right? So you want to identify that this little bottle, yes, is almost finished, but it can still do the same thing that a full bottle can do. So you need to make that get bring that skill. You have to, at the end of the day, we're going to be asking God because you have to ask Him to show you. The reason why people are feeling burnt out is because you are not at the place of your calling. You're not working in His purpose. Yesterday we read in the Bible where God said that He will make you work in your purpose. Right? Once you start working your purpose, guess what? You don't have a problem. Once you can identify it and let Him show you, that's why we're doing what we're doing. It's a practical workshop. That's why it's a challenge. Every day unlocks different potential. Right? So what type of hidden value, people overlook? What are these things that people overlook? Let's take a look at it. Most of you overlook your story. We talked about story yesterday. Right? They overlook the abuse, the struggle. You overlook the journey. Most of you on here, I'm an immigrant. Some of you are an immigrant as well, right? You overlook your immigrant journey. You came here for a purpose. Some of you forgot the reason why you came. It could be there was crisis back home. It could be an abuse. It could be that you wanted something better. Guess what? There's always been movement from time past, right? Even in the Bible days, people were moving. That's why the children of Israel left their land of calling and they went to a different land, right? Even God said, as far as your eyes can see, I will give it to you. And people have been moving and they end up in a wrong place. And it took them a long time to be able to leave that place. And when they were even leaving, they were even fought because when their presence over there gave the land, blessings. So you need to understand your journey, your struggle, the abuse, the hustle, the divorce, the survival. All of this it's like if you have a blank canvas and you're trying to paint, what you're trying to do, you're trying to paint pictures on that canvas. Everything you've been through, all the no's you've had, all the abuse, all the setback, all the disappointment, these are canvas, these are strokes on your canvas. And at the end of the day, you want to come out with a beautiful painting. When you look at it, that's when you look at a very good piece of art, right? You want to see it from the standpoint of the artist. What was he thinking when he did this? Different people will see differently based on their circumstance. Somebody can look at it and say, wow, I think maybe this thing looks like a female, and somebody will look at it and say, no, it looks like like an idol. Somebody will say, oh, it looks like a figurine. Somebody will say, look, different people, different perspective based on what their eyes can see or based on what their experience is. So your experience is very key. People pay for what you already healed from, what God has made you go through. And He said that He will not allow you go through what you cannot handle. So He has given you the power, right? He has given you the power to overcome everything, right? So guess what? Your story is someone else's survival guide. I told you this yesterday. So don't be ashamed to talk about your story. Give it a structure. You go back to my YouTube page or you watch the replay on my Facebook or on my Instagram. You can watch a replay and then you'll be able to see and identify. Take a note you want to write down. Don't worry about all the things I was talking about. You want to write down the questions and it will give you perspective as to how to map out yours, right? So now guess what? Your process is key. So your story, your process, right? You built that resume from scratch. You figured out how to homeschool your kids. You grew a brand without capital. Most of you don't understand that you can start a business with zero money. I just already told you have a phone. You could start a business. There are people that are called digital, content creators. They sit on TikTok. They mimic what people are doing. They reshare stuff. They do this and then they add value. They add a little bit of whatever. They sit on social media. Are you aware that Instagram, TikTok, all the big outlet, they pay for for views? As much as people are listening to you, they're paying you. So why are we ashamed to talk? If you have you can talk well. As a matter of fact, my mentor once told me, I told him, hey, I don't think I want to be talking. He said, who cares? You have an accent, so Who cares? Everybody have an accent, depending on who is listening. If you're talking to someone that never understood English, that other person that speaks good English have an accent. If you speak English and these other people are speaking differently, you understand? Everybody depends on. I said it depends on how you're seeing it. Everybody has a perspective. And now, guess what? AI has even made it easy. You could be talking and something is transcribing what you're saying. You speak Spanish, you speak African language, you speak Swahili, you speak whatever that you're speaking, right? Guess what? The English version, you can choose to hear, okay, give me the translation on based on my understanding, and then you hear it, right? So what is that process that you're not putting on display? Right? That's a framework people will pay for. That's the reason why we're on here. We're ready to help you. By the time you finish the process, the workshop and the 5-day challenge will help you. You're going to give us a blueprint to help you identify what it is you're supposed to be doing, and then we'll help you package that skill. We'll help you package that giftings. If you want to go on the space, if you want to write a book, if you want to be a storyteller, if you want to be anything, if you want to showcase your skill, you're gifted in cooking, you're gifted in talking to people. Somebody was talking to me yesterday in the private section, for those of them that are in the challenge, and she said, right, that she has a gifting in listening. Most of us, we don't have that ability to listen. As a matter of fact, we want to even out talk the person talking, because while somebody's speaking, you're already making, you're already concluding, okay, from the lines of what they're saying, you're picking up punchlines. Okay, this one I'm going to reply. So you are not in the moment. You are listening to reply, not listening to digest, to understand, so that you can communicate effectively. Right? So your process is a framework that people will pay for. What are you willing to, package for you to receive payment? And then guess what? Number three, your environment. Your environment is very key. Your network, your access, your neighborhood, your community, right? I said something that if your environment is toxic, you're going to be depressed, because energy is key. You need to guide your energy. Your atmosphere is key. I was listening to a live call with Pastor Mildred this morning, and then she said that she was humming something because her kids played some kind of music. This is a pastor, right? Some kids play some kind of music, and then she didn't know that her spirit picked on it, and she was humming it, and the kids were like, Mom, you're singing that song. She's like, what am I singing? And then they said, you're singing. They mentioned the singer, and it happened to be a secular singer. And she was like, oh my God, you need to guide your gate, right? Your environment. If you are down, if you are broke, if you are depressed, if everything is not happening well with you, look around you, right? Look around you. You need to audit your network. You need to audit your friendship, your friends. That's why your colleagues are not your friends, right? There's something called acquaintances, your friends. Even the Bible says, if you have so many friends, you're a fool. You see what I mean? It's okay for 20 friends to start on in life, but guess what? In 20 years, those 20 friends will not be friends forever. People outgrow each other. Everybody is supposed to be at a certain level with you, right? Some people are for a season. That's okay. That's their journey. Once that journey ends, recognize it and keep moving. Other people they will go with you till the end. You need to identify those that are for a season and those that are for a reason, those that will uplift you. Some of your friends won't give you money, but they talk to you. When you're down, they have a listening ear. They listen to you. They advise you. They counsel you. They are very, very quick to tell you to your face that you did wrong, right? Why other people will just be looking at you and they see you sink. They're looking at you because honestly, some friends are enemies. They're just around you to observe the moment, to know what you're doing, and then they're taking credit. Okay, this is what's going on. Okay, and then once they see that things are beginning to shape up in your life, they bring in negativity and they tell you, "Are you sure?" Right? They tell you tough stuff like, "Are you sure? I don't think this is for you," and they talk you out of your place of blessings because guess what? You were not smart enough to watch your environment, right? You need to watch your environment. Even in relationship, most of you, if you are having sexual relationship with people, you're having relations with people, and you observe that once you are in this relationship and you check out the timeline, 5 years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you've been going down. You look at your before, you were doing better. Now you're looking at you now, you're looking like a shadow of yourself. Audit that relationship. That person's energy is not good with you, right? Because guess what? Once you start mingling, that's why the Bible says that we should separate that side, right? It said, guess what? The bed undefined. The Bible says, do not, for a reason, right? He said, do not, for a reason. But most of us, we like the flex, we like the fun. That's why we indulge in it. But guess what? You're mingling spirit and spirit. That person is coming on with a lot of energy. And guess what? If they happen to be cheating or doing whatever they're doing and they never did a soul tie cleanse and separated themselves, you are bagging on that person's army. Whatever they're carrying, their demons, their setback, their everything you're carrying on you. That's why you'll be feeling depressed. That's why you'll be feeling let down. You'll be feeling like a weight on you because you went in to a spiritual bond with someone you were not supposed to be with. Most people marry wrongly as well, right? Now, there's a very amazing pastor of mine. She said a lot of people will go to hell because of who you married. Because guess what? If you marry wrong and you were going to have the spirit of forgiveness, guess what? That person might move on and plead to God and get God will forgive. But you still be nursing the pain, you still be nursing the hurt and all that. You might not even make it because guess what? You married wrong. That's why a life partner is key. Most of us made that mistake by stepping into something we don't understand. You're not, equally yoked to that person. You're not in alignment with that person. You don't believe in the same thing. You're working in different directions. The reason why most marriages fail is because nobody had a vision. People were carried by the superficial, which is the experience you have. Oh, he makes me feel like this, or she makes me feel like that. But you're forgetting that there's deeper than the surface. It's deeper than the looks. It's deeper than the skill set. It's deeper than the money, the pocket, the flex. It's more right in purpose. Once you come together, you're going to birth kids. You're going to commingle. You're going to bring in children into this world. And guess what? Especially if you're dealing with generational traumas, you're dealing with generational curses. Because most of us from the African descent, or I think almost everybody, because of what happened in the beginning, most of us have dealt with generational stuff we haven't dealt with. So imagine you carry your own family demons and background and foundational problem. You now go and marry someone that has worse. If you mingle too, your children will compound it. Right? There's a pastor that I listened to, right? She said, if you haven't defeated the battle now, you're refusing to face on the challenges of your life, especially on the spiritual side. And guess what? You're going to leave it. You'll say, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm playing this up, or I'm whatever you believe in. But guess what? Your children that you came into marriage and you birthed, they're going to compound on that problem. If yours was 10%, your children are going to have compounding 240% or whatever the number is. And they're going to have to battle with that, right? Because children don't listen to what you say, they watch you. Your children mirror you. If you say don't do that and then you're doing the opposite, they're going to be quick to tell you, but mom, you did, you're going to be surprised. They're quick to tell you because they're watching you, right? So if you want to war, you want to go to war with your battle, you're saying no, it ends in this my lineage. Guess what? Your children will pick from there, and then once they pick it from there, nobody can take it away from them, right? So your environment is very key. What feels regular to you, right? What feels regular to you is a gold mine to someone else, right? Don't downplay what God has given to you. Watch the people around you. There's certain people around you that look up to you. If you are want to be on the platform, you're talking, you're posting stuff, guess what? A lot of people look up to you. They might not come to you and clap for you. They might not email you or DM you or reach out to you, but you're watching. Your story is elevating people. Why are you holding back? Because you're holding back. Remember, I said something. You are like that pilot that is supposed to fly, but because you failed to take that move and go into motion, right? Guess what? You are holding people back. You're holding the crewmates. You're holding the passengers on board. You're holding destinies. And then guess what? The worst one ever is you've missed your flight, your takeoff point. You missed that point you were supposed to go and you delayed. You're going to make other people on the connecting miss theirs as well. And then if you have people on here that are supposed to connect with other flights, they're going to miss their flight. And that's what we do every day when we say no to our calling. If God has placed something in your life, God has given you a voice, He has given you a gift, and you refuse to step into that place, guess what? You're holding people down, right? I don't want to draw so much on that. I have a book, right? I said the book is going to be coming out by the end of the week. You want to go and look at my DM by the end of the week. Hopefully by tomorrow, it should be out there. Finishing the editing work is amazing. I'm loving it. I'm just giving the review. It's amazing. It's going to help you. If you're a coach, if you know you have a leadership trait, you want to get that book, right? It's a book that is telling you that you are supposed to take momentum. You are supposed to move. You're supposed to quick move. You move by this. It's titled Permission to Launch. You are launching, right? The plane. your pace, and your purpose. It's your permission to launch. God has given you the permission to launch. Do not wait for people. Do not wait for anybody. Guess what? If you're waiting for someone, you might miss it. And if you miss it, you miss it. But guess what? God is not going to wait for you. I told you a story of me not taking act and releasing my book when I was supposed to release it. And God brought an amazing person, right? And she released the book the same day on my birthday. I kept saying, no, it's not perfect because I'm a Virgo, right? And guess what? I'm not supposed to be saying that, but that's true. I was born in September. We love perfection. I love everything looking all cool. If it's not perfect, I have so much light in front of me, right? If it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. Guess what? But guess what? The minute I told myself, get deep behind me, I put myself down for God to rise. That's when you see that I'm coming out. It's been always this way. I've always been doing it, but guess what? I decided to put me down. You need to humble yourself and let God use you, right? Let God use you, because guess what? A lot of people are tied to the message that you're refusing to release, right? So timing is key. Watch out for that book. By the end of today, by tomorrow, it should be out. Let's go in and get that book. It's going to help you. If you are a coach, you are a leader, if you have that characteristic, or if you want to be a coach, get that book, especially if you're female and you want to know how to dominate in a male environment, you want to get that book, right? And lastly, your mistake is also part of the journey, right? Is also part of the journey, right? These are the type of people that outlook their stuff, people that have made mistake. You don't forgive yourself. Today, I want you to say, I forgive myself. You look in the mirror and you tell yourself, I forgive myself. But guess what? Every mistake, these are recipes, they are proof. Guys, guess what? People don't follow perfect people. No, if you're too perfect, people are going to be doubting. They follow people that have made the mistakes that make us. People, we are humans. We are born to err, right? So you want to make sure that you make people follow who's fallen and gotten up. If you've fallen and you got up, you have proof, you have a receipt. You're going to show people, hey, once I was blind, now I can see, right? Now guess what? I've seen both sides. I can tell you categorically that this is the best side, and if you avoid doing this XYZ, you will get the result, and you will save time, because time is a resource, right? You don't want to waste time, right? You don't want to waste time. The time you waste today, you're going to pay in repaying for that time. If you're not smart, if you don't leverage a coach, you don't get on people's coaching program, you're going to waste your time trying to figure out what you're not supposed to be wasting time. You want a blueprint handed to you. The next challenge is coming up, right? It's coming up. By next week, I'm going to launch that. You want to get in the room. Those that are in the room that are getting the direct coaching, they know the value they're getting, right? Now, guess what? The framework that you're going to look at is the hidden value finder questions you're going to ask yourself today. This is where I want you to write, right? This is where I want you to write. So grab your pen. I'm going to give you a minute or two. Grab your pen, grab your paper. The hidden value in what you're doing. The hidden value in what you're doing. The topic, like I said, is what is in your hand. Today is day 3 of the 5-day challenge. Today is day 3 of the 5-day challenge. Let me know if you got the book or you're ready to write. I want you to write this down. At the end of this, you want to go back and answer those questions personally. If you're at work, you want to do it in your quiet moment. When you get home, you want to do it. What we're talking about is the value you carry. Why? Because what you already carry, it's enough. What you're carrying is enough. Don't think you need to go learn extra stuff. No, what you already carry is enough. God has given you with many things. If He is able, right? I always tell people, do not worry. There's a reason why God said, don't worry about tomorrow, right? For tomorrow will take care of itself. Worry about it now. What are you doing today? Right? If you can audit your today, if you can be so deliberate to audit your hour. What do I do in an hour? What is my behavior? Even if I'm at work, am I really fully doing what I'm doing? If I'm at home, what do I do per hour? What you need to audit yourself. Do I watch TV? Do I scroll on the phone? Do I just hover around the kitchen? Am I just sitting and staring or thinking of what is not happening? Or am I journaling down? Or am I auditing myself? If you can sit down and dissect yourself daily, you begin to change the things that you're doing, because habits are formed. Nobody came into this world with habits. We all came, plain, and then we formed the habit from the environment. I told you, most of us are going through trauma because of what our parents failed to do, or what they did, what the environment did, the things that people said to you. So it shaped you, but you cannot shape that thing. You can refine yourself, right, by the word of the things you hear. You can uplift yourself, right, by educating yourself and following people that are giving you value. So question number 1 you want to ask ask yourself, right, is what do people always ask me for help with? What do people ask me for help with? That's question number one. You want to write that down. What do people come to me for help, right? It could be casual. What do your friends always come to you? Because there's certain people that only come for you to you if they need advice. You're the first person they would think of. Guess what? That is a skill in itself, right? Somebody was talking today. She said, if you are quick to gossip, if you are quick to bite, if you are quick to carry everybody's gist, you have a calling in speaking. Why don't you use that calling to share the news, right? Because the Bible says, he that winneth a soul is wise. Why don't you use that gifting to educate people? Turn it around. Instead of using it to gossip, turn it around. You will see value. That's the gift that God has given. If you're quick to carry the news and then you dissect it and you talk about it very well, people are looking at you and like, so is that what happened? Guess what? There's a gifting in your talking. That is a ministry in itself. You can use it. Get your channel started. Start talking to people about stuff. You watch what is going on in the environment. You come on there, give your input. People will listen. And if you're listening, the algorithm is going to direct people to towards your stuff. Guess what? YouTube will pay you. Instagram will pay you. TikTok will pay you. All the avenue. Instagram will pay you. Everything. Facebook will pay you. You start making money from the gift instead of sharing news that you're not making money and destroying people's lives. Question number 2. What do I do effortlessly that others find hard? What do I do? What is that thing that when I show up, somebody is scared, they don't know how to do stuff? What is that one thing that when I show up, people are like, you don't show. I'm so happy that this thing will work. Man, I'm so happy that you're here. I've been trying to figure this thing out. But now that you're here, I am very, very happy and I'm very certain that this thing is going to be done. That is a gift in itself. What is that thing that you do effortlessly, right? Because God has blessed you with so many things, but here we are trying to follow trend. We're trying to follow what other people are doing. Maybe this person doing what they're doing, that is their calling. You haven't thought about it. That's why they're excelling, but you go from one job to the other, from one career to the other. That is not your calling. What God has given you is easy. It looks stupid. It looks simple. It looks very, very cheap. It looks too simple and easy. But that's where your calling is. Maybe you are the one that when you speak, even children understand you. Or maybe when you sing, right? People cry, healings take place. What is that gift that you have? Maybe you have a healing ministry. If you sing and people feel they feel chills, right? That is a gift and you have the Spirit of God. You can use it. You just need to separate yourself from people, go in and do a fast, ask God to enhance it and get into your ministry. People will listen to you. You will release music. You don't even have to be a big star now. You don't need any recording label. Back in the days when I used to sing, I went to West African Idols. I did all that. I would have been signed up in the biggest. But guess what? Marriage took that away from me, right? Children took that away from me. Most of you say, oh, because I got married, because I have children. Stop making excuses. Stop making excuses. God has given you the voice. If I sing, people cry. I'm from a family of singers. My siblings sing. They play instruments, right? God has blessed, you with so many stuff. What are you using it to do? And then question number 3, what have I survived that others are struggling with? If you know that people say, man, this thing where you come out from, child, if not me, I don't know how to free handler. Know that the grace is upon you on that angle, in that angle rather. Right? Know that you have a gifting, right? In that angle. You come out of what should bury people when you're looking like it didn't happen. Right? You come out of a bad situation and then your head is still head up high. Even when you are knowing that you're struggling, you don't even have food to eat, you still show up looking strong. But other people cry, they go depressed for the same thing that you're going through or the same thing that you overcame. That is value. You have a ministry in that. You need to harness it. You need to ask the Holy Spirit. You need to harness it and you need to go with a coach that understands principles, that understand that guess what? You have what it takes to achieve that goal. That is your place. Some people are just busy struggling and looking for what is not lost. If you come out of situations, if you go through stuff and people say, man, I don't understand. Most times people envy you for that and they hate you for that because they know that they cannot stand that. They wonder, how is it that this person came out of this thing and they're still standing? Instead of asking you or tapping into the grace, they hate you. Don't worry. If you're chosen, don't worry. Most of us, we don't get people on our side. People just wonder why people just hate you. It's because of the gifts you carry. And most people will try to steal it. Some people try to downplay it. Some people try to, squash it or squander it. But the grace of God will keep pushing you up. Guess what? The more you go down, you're like that catapult that you've been pulled. Right now, you are in your pulling season. By the time you've been released, right, you will supersede. You will pass the years, right? That's why Scripture says that you will, that the years the caterpillars and the caterworms have taken, he will restore. Guess what? When you are in that moment, what are you doing? When you are in that moment that you're being pulled, it might look slow. It might look like you're struggling. It might look like you're stagnant. But guess what? Keep on holding on. But it depends on what you're doing. Are you waiting and you're grumbling, or you're waiting and you're thankful? You're waiting and you're waiting on God, and you're believing it that, like Esther, that even if I perish, I will do this. Right? I will do this because I know that you have sent me. Right? Another question: what is that thing that I keep? You personalize it, that I, Helen, keep saying it's nothing, but people keep complimenting. If people tell you, they give you a compliment on a skill that you have, on an ability that you have, on your potential, on a gift, that is your place. That is your gift. Go ahead and harness it. You need to book a session. You can click the link in my bio. You book a session. We can, after going through all the workshop, by the way, you need to get all the day 1, day 2, day 3 till day 5. Once you come on, we're going to ask you based on what you did, and then we're going to help you get in our program, our coaching program, our community. Right? You can click the link in my bio, join the Telegram group. Guess what? We're a community of people going somewhere to happen. Right? You want to make sure that you get value in what you're doing. And guess what? What if, just in God's strategy, this thing is going to liberate your family? What if that's your just? What if that's your gift? What if that's your beauty? What if that's your height? What if that's your limitation? What if that's your setback? What if that's that thing that you sit back and you say, just is just this thing? It's just, is it not just this thing that I have? And people say, not just that, people tell you, not that just that thing that she did. What's she feeling like? Or what is he feeling like? He's feeling too special because of that little thing. That thing. That just is your strategy. That's the God strategy that will help you liberate your family. Right? So now I want you to turn, the ordinary into legacy, right? I want you to turn the ordinary into a legacy, right? Now, guess what? I'll tell you a quick testimony, right, about a lady who started making meals, for neighbors. Back then, she used to make meals for neighbors. She used to cook, basically. And back in the days when I used to work in a timeshare company back in Africa, I was working for a company called Hemingway Safari Africa. We don't go to the office until 12 noon. So when I'm going to the office, I notice in the mall that we are, by the time I finish talking to families and talking to them about their holiday destinations, the places they want to go, blah, 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 right? And it's time for lunch. That place was in Oniko. If you're in Lagos, you know where that is. There's a mall in Oniko. I can't remember the mall. I think it was owned by Tinubu, but a big mall by Oniko. So the only place we go to eat food is one lady called, I think Ghana Jollof Rice or something, right? And that area where they do hair and all that, where they braid hair. But guess what? So I noticed that this lady always cook good, and then her neighbors told me that this food is nice. And I told the woman that, wow, your turkey is very nice. Like the packaging of the food is very good. I told her, are you, able to package this food and bring it, right? And then she told me yes, that she can try. She'll give me a tester. So I told her, okay, bring it lunchtime this time. I'm going to tell my colleagues, right? Because most people don't want to go after talking. You don't want to start going to look for food. You're scouting for food because the food is expensive in the mall, right? The only thing we had in the mall then was, I think Kentucky Fried Chicken was what we had. And so it was expensive. I used to have a voucher because I actually, had a client sit on my desk and they were the owners of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. So they gave me vouchers to eat for like 2 months. So that was me, but other people didn't have. And because that half jollof rice and fried rice was so nice, and she put a big size of turkey and she has this little cube size of plantain, right? Fried plantain. It was amazing. So I told her back then, I'm talking about way back, right? This was way back before I got, married and have kids. But my daughter is 11 years old, so you can picture that. So this will probably be maybe 15 when 11 years now, 15 years ago. This was when it happened, before I eventually met my kids' dad and we got married and all that. So the story I'm telling you now, she came over And she, when I told her, she brought the food, and I told people, by the way, this food is so nice. Can you test? And then we did a little test that people tasted, like, my God, it's so nice. Why did you bring more? So the next day she started selling and all that. But one thing she did, she started making money, and she started getting carried away. Now, because people are hailing you and you're telling you your food is good and all that, she reduced the quality of what she was doing, and then she started adding other stuff. Too soon, you started adding swallow because people are demanding. Once you get into your place, guess what? That thing that you think is ordinary, people they will love it at first, and they might start demanding for other versions. But don't be too quick to start offering other version when you're not ready. And she started offering other version. She started doing samovita and all that. And then samovita, by the way, for those of us that don't understand, if you eat fufu, it's fufu, right? So, but guess what? She started making the samovita. Instead of being firm, she make it watery sometimes. People started complaining. Now, if she had 2 or 3 meats in there, she reduced it to one. People started complaining, and I was like, what's going on? But there's another person that I knew, and I told her, you need to stop. So one day she brought the food, nobody bought. And then she threw in the towel, because you don't listen. When you come in and you get into your place, you're excited. Don't be too quick to get excited. Yes, you're winning, but there's a strategy to start introducing a little bit of things here and there. But then you need to make sure your value you're giving to people stays the same. You should be improving on your value, not trying to diminish your value. Right? You can't reduce the taste of what you're giving to people. They tasted it, they understood the taste. Don't change it upon them, right? Increase your value every time. If you give more value, you can increase your price point, right? And not the other way down round. Eventually, long story short, I brought somebody else, and that person stayed there. Even after I left, that person is still serving. As a matter of fact, she owns her restaurant. She now have mobile boys that take the food and go deliver. She expanded because I told her, hey, go ahead and expand. What am I saying? Your value, right? Make sure that the value you're giving to people, you turn that ordinary thing into a legacy. Make sure that people understand that they can be able to get a franchise. If you get to a position where somebody can want to get a piece of what you have, hey, by the way, can we get you to come, do the same thing over here? Can I buy into your business? If your business or your skill is buyable and people can duplicate it in other region, you are successful. Now you've turned that ordinary thing into a legacy, right? Whatever it is you're doing, you're cooking, you're teaching, you're coaching, whatever you're doing, you're selling clothes, hair, whatever, right? I used to be in the beauty space. Trust me, you want to make sure you get into the franchise system. How do I make people get access to what I'm doing? How do I coach people? How do I turn this skill into a book, into a digital stuff that even after I'm long gone, my children, my generation can still be benefiting from it, right? Somebody wrote a book one time, but every year they're netting over 6 figures. Some of them are in their 7 figures. If you give value, people will keep showing up. People paid her not just for the food, but for the feeling of home. She did well, right? At first, she did well. Forget about the downside. People will pay you for the feeling you give them. They pay you for the value. They don't pay you for the taste of the food. They pay you for the value, because in every value you give, you're making somebody think. If you're a good singer, you're singing. That's why when people are going through the down moments, guess what? They remember a song. They use songs to equate feelings, event, and time. You hear somebody sing and I'm like, back in the days, this song was so good. This is evergreen. Or maybe you're singing a song and then that person going through heartbreak. You sing a heartbreak or a love song, and they remember that person that they were in a relationship with used to love this song with them. It puts them in an emotional place. So you are touching people at the place where it matters the most. And then guess what? Don't despise the ordinary. God uses the clay. He uses the stick. We saw him use the staff from Moses to part the Red Sea. We saw him use the oil, and he even uses the dirt to do miracles. God can use the ordinary thing that you think he cannot use. So what is that ordinary thing that you have that you're not harnessing? So if you hear the sound in the background, that's my son trying to play, right? In the background. That's why we're parents and we're doing what we're doing this period. I'm not in the office, right? I'm working from home, and I'm also doing what I'm doing. Sometimes I go to the office anytime. I own the office anyway. I can show up anytime, but I'm a very intentional parent, and I'm staying home with him for the summer. Soon, once they're out, I'm back in the office fully all day long. Now, guess what? The quote that I'm going to give you is going to reinforce what you're going to do. You're going to write it down. If it's common to you, it's still valuable to the right person. That thing that you think is common, write it down, put it on your wall. If it's common to you, if it's common to me, it's a thing of value to the right person. Ever keep it down. If it's common to me, it's a thing of value to the right person. Don't bury what God gave you to build with. Stop putting those things in a box. Stop hanging your degree. If you know you are gifted in something, maybe based on circumstance, you packed that thing and you checked it into the box. Most of us that have portmanteau, you have that big box, you hide things. Like our mothers back in the days, they used to put valuable stuff in the bottom of the pot or the bottom of the box. Go ahead and bring it out. If you're gifted in cooking, trust me, you want to bring it out. Don't bury that skill. Let people see. We have over how many millions and people, on earth. In America alone, we have over 400 and something million, right? How many people will see it? Even if it's 1% or 0.1% of people that see the thing that you're doing, you will get value. Someone somewhere will love that and they will reach out to you, right? Your oil won't multiply until you pour it. You need to pour it. You need to go through the process, take that divine instruction, go ahead and pour it. Go ahead and pour it out. You pour in that oil, you're pouring it onto other people, you're pouring into the business, you're pouring into something. Guess what? That's where from an obedience standpoint, that's where you get the blessing. That's when you get the blessing. It might not start immediately, but you need to be willing to go. And the timing is very key. Timing is very key in everything that we do. Timing is of essential, is very, very key, right? So whatever you're going to do, you want to make sure that you're doing what you got to do at the right time. At the right time, right? She thought she had nothing except a jar of oil. That oil was overlooked, it was dismissed and devalued, but it was her miracle. God multiplied what she had when she saw it differently and acted in faith. So the point I'm trying to pull here is, what if the thing you've ignored is the very thing God wants to multiply? That very thing you're looking down on, that is the thing that he wants to multiply, right? So guess what? We have a framework for today. Now, the framework is number one, the experience value. What have I survived? I already told you. What have I overcome? What have I been through? What's that others haven't? What can they see? What are they going to see? Your story is wisdom in itself, right? Your story is wisdom in itself, right? Now, guess what? The proximity value, the proximity value, the proximity value. Who do you know, or who have access to others, who have access to that thing that others don't? Who have access to that thing that others don't rather? If you have access to other things that people don't, trust me, people will always come, because people go. It's just like you are just like that person that has the sugar, and guess what? The ant goes after the sugar. Position yourself as the one that owns the sugar and let the ants follow. Right? The ants always goes through the sugar. I'm not saying people are ants. I'm just giving you an analogy. You must hold the thing of value, for that people will follow you. They follow. Guess what? They're paying you for watching you. They're paying you for exchanging value. I said something. You follow me. You see what I said. I said a lot of us are thinking. You're overthinking stuff. What value can you give to people that can pay you $100, just a minimum $100 a day? If you're making $100 a day, you're earning $100 a day from exchanging value. I'm talking about positive income, not the one this is after tax and all that. Guess what? You get 36,000 in a year. But what if you can make, or you can earn, or you exchange value and you're making at least minimum $3,000 daily? You're going to be over $1 million in income in a year. It's not too hard. It's just the place of mind. And that's why right now, when God said, talk about what you have in your hand, as I'm doing it, you're doing it. And guess what? We're going to come back here after a couple of months, and we're going to show the value. We're going to show the income that we got from giving value, and we're going to scale that and move to the next level. Maybe you have access to decision makers. You have access to rooms that others cannot penetrate. You have access to cultures, to industries. What are you doing with it, right? What do you do with it? If you're bilingual, helping immigrants navigate the system, that is a value. Right? People pay interpreters, people pay people for doing stuff. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, there's a lot of volatility in the economy. People are scared, people are worried. What is value? What is the value? There's a problem. Have you sat back to think, how can I solve people's problem right now? Right? Economically, people are down. The time value of money, their power, their buying power has gone down. The same money you took to the market a couple of months ago or last year, the same amount cannot buy the same quantity of stuff. It's a thing of concern. What can you do? What can you contribute in that style? If you can give solution, you will begin to make income. Now, the insight that I'm giving you here is, what do you know Or what do you understand without trying? What do you understand without trying that people can get? You may assume everyone sees patterns. No. When I sit with people, I'm studying patterns. That's why when I sit with people, I have a laser eye. I can see the things that you're not seeing based on patterns. But I'm sitting with you, I am listening to you, I'm picking patterns in my head. I'm like, I used to wonder why I was like that. Sometimes I thought I was crazy or something. Now that in my adulthood and with the understanding that I have, from the standpoint that I have, I understand that that's my calling, that's my nature, right? So if you're good with seeing patterns, you are creating solutions. If you're a solution provider, you are giving solution. Most people cannot do it. They sit with people and they're hearing people complain. This is you come to me, you complain. I have a high filter, right? My filter is high. So once you're complaining around me, because before I come on that call, I'm guiding myself. I'm telling God, I'm not going to soak up on this thing, but I'm going to give value. Whatever I'm going to say, let your spirit move. Make my tongue that of a ready writer. Whatever I say, let your spirit move. Guess what? By the time you finish, I'm already hearing him tell me to use this method, and I'm seeing patterns. I'm seeing the places you're not seeing. I'm that side mirror that you're not looking at. I'm that extra eye that you don't have, and I'm seeing and I'm highlighting, and I tell you, hey, go do this, do that, and you do it, and it works, right? It works. Just like if you are someone who naturally, you are very good in organizing chaos. Some people are very good. They work in your space. They find it hard to stay. If you're very disorganized, they find it hard to stay. You have a very high calling, right? You have a very high calling in organization. You can actually turn it into a paid, system coaching business. You can coach people in how to be organized. Most people don't know how to be organized. They wake up in the morning, they're going to their phone. Before you know, it's 9 a.m. You'll be like, what? Time has gone. They cannot departmentalize themselves. They're not structured. Most people have a high level of ADHD that was not diagnosed as kids. So, but you have that calling. You can use it to make money. Whatever skill you have is not a waste. The pain, the value of pain. Well, what has hurt you that made you passionate about fixing it for others? You can turn that camera from you and face the people. Pain often leads to purpose, right? Pain often leads to purpose, right? There's a lady that I knew back in Africa, right? She lost a child. Now she advocates for NICU families and built a non-profit, right? So that pain, there's a message in it, and she's been doing fine because that thing she's doing now, she's happy helping other mothers, to not to go through the pain because her baby was born there, but the hospital system in Africa, it was too full. There was no space for them to help because trust me, I've been opportune to sit, to be in a general hospital. I didn't know when I even started acting like I was crazy. I was fighting the doctors over my friend, right? I got in the room where they were having babies. They put them in a bowl. Some of them, they delivered babies, they're stillbirth. They put them down. They used their legs to kick. It was, horrific. And then I was like, if my friend's baby died, we'll be in here. I had to stand in the place to fight. That thing got me really scared. And back then I was very young. I didn't even have kids. I was like, man, I don't think I want to have kids if this was going on. But that's why when I had kids, I made sure that I paid for the best care whatsoever, right? So that I don't want to go to any place that is general and people are doing. If it's free, it's not good. Not every free thing is good. Do not despise small beginnings, right? The scripture says in Zechariah 4:10, do not despise the days of small beginning, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. God doesn't overlook what's in your hand. We are the ones that do. There's a reason why he wants you to stay. I told you something now. I said, if you grow, you will stay up here. But if you jump, you just came out and you want to jump. You don't want to go through the process. You're going to fall because you didn't go through your process. Your small gift is a seed. Seeds never look like a tree. When you get the seed, it doesn't look like a tree, but if you put it down, you kill that seed. By the time you put that seed down, you're saying, hey, I bury you, I put you to dirt, I cover you, I water you. What are you doing? When you plant a seed, what are the things you're doing? That's what you're going to do with your business, with your skill, with the value that you bring. And then guess what? But they carry nations. That tree that you go take a shade under, someone somewhere planted that tree. But today you are taking shades. So how many trees are you willing to plant? A tree in this sense is the generational wealth that you have created. How are you going to plant that seed to make sure that in future, your children, your great grandkids, your grandchildren will call your name. They will say, Helen, whatever your name is, right? I see most of us on this call. I see John on the Zoom. I see Amaka. I see Chinwe. I see Grace, right? I see Kel Bash. I see Ricky YDS630 on Instagram. I see Crazy Star Esther for life. Sorry for murdering your name. But guess what are your family, what are your grandkids, what are they going to call you? Are they going to see are they going to say, oh, grandma, grandpa had opportunities to plant a seed? Now this seed would have germinated, would have been a tree that would have taken shade on? Or are they going to say bless you? They will call your name and they will say bless you for doing this. Now we don't have to struggle. I said it already, the battles you failed to fight now, the things you failed to go head on with now, your children, your grandkids, they will multiply, they will compound on it, and they will fight it. Most of them might not even be able to fight, but you have it now. If the battle is at 10%, you can defeat it. Don't leave it for your grandkids to come and take over, right? So all of this I'm saying is that I need you to understand something. What if God called you, right? What if God called you? Not enough is actually more than enough in seed form. That seed that you have is more than enough. Who told you your story didn't matter? Whoever told you that negative voice? Most of us, we still have voices in our head that tells us that we don't belong. That voice that is speaking whenever you want to do something, you hear that voice, oh, that you don't belong here. You won't amount to anything. You can't achieve anything. Those negative voices that came in from as far as a teacher, your parents, some of you parents, you speak negative to your children because you hate what you are, you don't like who you are, but you should be declaring positive things instead of negative stuff. Don't allow people put negativity on your kids, because guess what? It's a mental game. If you can guide this, if your mental capacity is sound, if you're healthy up here, you will know that you will scale everything that you see. What are you good at that you've been hiding because you thought it wasn't valuable? Right? What would you show up? How? What will you use? How will you show up? Right? When will you show up? How would you show up if you believed your oil was the answer to my prayer, was the answer to my problem, was the answer to somebody's problem? Somebody did something yesterday. I was talking about the young guy that sold his app for $10,000, but that app has made a 27-year-old in Africa. That guy is making money on a daily. He said he took his time, like, why am I trying to buy this? He bought the app for $10,000. Right now, he said companies are trying to buy it from him, but he said no, because the app is given in a day. Sometimes he get more than 1 million, right? Sometimes he get more than even the 10,000, because it's a volume thing. People are using. Why are you not thinking of how do I create apps? How do I create apps? That's why I'm telling you, you want to click the link in my bio, or you want to click my website. I have a training program for those of you that are in tech. I have a master's in information technology. I have a group of coaches that can help you if you're trying to get into the tech space, in Scrum roles, in business analyst roles, in ServiceNow, whatever you want to do, project management. I have a group of qualified people. If you've taken the course before, but you want to scale, you've not been able to pass an interview, we can give you an interview prep class. You just need to book it in my website, Filio Consulting Services. Book it, and then we're going to give you that one-on-one interview. We'll interview like you're interviewing with someone. We'll record it, and then we'll tell you what your answers are. You go ahead and look at it over and over. You get that job, right? And then guess what? You can do apps. People are thinking outside the box. How do I create a solution for something, right? How do I create a solution for something? God doesn't multiply, no, that thing that is missing. He doesn't. Know this and have peace. He multiplies what is present. What are you willing to give him to multiply? So in summary, your experience is value. You carry value in every experience. Do not despise. See, in my business, I have over 100 plus agents that work with me in insurance side. I have an agency of insurance agents. Guess what? I have almost every one of them. 90% of the people in my agency are men. They are older, they are experienced from all walks of life. I'm talking about, I have a doctor, I have pharmacists, I have teachers, I have tech people, I have nurses. Guess what? I have different people from all walks of life do business with me on the part-time, right? They're doing it part-time. Some of them are referral agents, they're revenue sharing agents. All they have to do is pass a license test, and then they tell me, hey, Helen, I'm only going to give you 5 hours a week in this business, because the business they're running. And then once they do, they make their commissions once they want, whenever they want. I'm not telling you I'm advertising that, but I'm telling you what you have in your hands. If you have something, you can scale it. The experience that I have, listen to them, because the Bible said, right, in the book of Leviticus, when it was talking to Moses, why, when Moses was worried, why did you give me all these people and all that? Guess what? The Bible said that he actually said, Moses was talking and he was complaining about the people. right? Was complaining about the people. And God told him that he gave him elders. God said he gave him elders in Numbers, rather, in Numbers 11, verse 10 and 17. Moses was complaining about being overwhelmed of the burden of leading the Israelites. He expressed the feeling of inadequacy and how, he's not able to carry the responsibility anymore. If you are a leader, leading people is the hardest thing to do. But God, told him, hey, I didn't call you to lead, right? Stop complaining. He was complaining to God about the responsibility of the people that he has given to him. And God asked him, have you given such, a thought before that, guess what? I have given you elders. I have given people within your circle. I have created people within your circle. That is why the minute I discovered this word, it was a rema moment for me. And I realized while I was attracting people that are older, I'm talking about people that are in their 60s, almost 70s in my business. These are wise men and women. Once they sit down, I had to put them in a leadership role. Once they sit down, if I have issues with any teammate or whatever, I just push it to the leaders and I'm like, leaders, these are my elders because God has placed them in your life. There's a reason why you need to leverage experience. I don't play down on experience. If you have experience, I actually love working with people with experience because guess what? You already gone through the hoops. You've gone through the down moments. We filtered out. Those people are already there. They're dogged. They're good to go. Go after experience. If you have experience, you carry experience. That is the value you own. The proximity is a value. Your insight is a value. The pain is a value, right? The pain is a value. The oil is not outside of you, it's in your house, right? The oil is in your house. What do you have in your house? Your house can be your body. Your body is the temple of God. What abilities has He given you that you're not tapped into? The miracle didn't come until the widow borrowed the jar. When she went, as a matter of fact, the oil was not, it was little, but by the time the miracle came, she went and borrowed jars from neighbors, right? Right. And I just told you right now, once you get to a point where you need to multiply, you need to create avenues, you need to duplicate yourself, you need to start giving franchises. That's when you get to your aha moment. Watch every successful coach, they duplicate others. You need to try when you start your journey, keep going, keep learning, but later have at the back of mind that you're going to expand. When the expansion comes, you're going to have people. You're going to go after people of value, people of respect, people of experience. Those are the people that will move that business or that skill set that you have and take it there. But start now. Start now. The time will come, right? Start now. The time will come. Start now, the time will come. Start now, the time will come. So I'm going to end with this. I want you to know that everything that you carry, there's a message in every mess, right? There's a message in every mess that you carry. Do not despise your days of small beginnings. Record every process, record every place, right? Record everything that you're going through because God knows what He's doing. So in the workbook of today, right? The title of the workbook is Inventory, the Value in My Hand, right? I'm going to give you this inventory, the value in my hand. So I told you most of the things already. What I'm going to tell you now is I want you to do three things. It's in three parts, right? It's in three parts. The part number one is the value layer. What am I naturally good at? I already told you, right? If you want the workbook, DM me. We're going to give you the workbook. What skill have I been paid in the past, right? What do people thank me for or come to me for advice on? That is part one, right? And then part two is the hidden wealth audit. You're going to write down three things that you do easily for other people, where other people struggle. Those three things that you naturally do, you're going to, find out, right? You've helped someone with that, thing before. You've helped someone that created a transformation. Write it down. If you've ever helped somebody and it made sense and they have been transformed, write it down. You've learned through hardship, write it down. Those things that you've done, that is the transformation. That's the hidden wealth in the audit that I'm talking about. You need to audit your skill. And then the last thing here on the workbook is the value versus the prize challenge. What one skill or gift have I given away for free? Write it down. Thank you. I'm going to send the book to you, right? So just DM me so that when we're done, I'll send it to you. That one gift that you have, that you have given away for free that can package or charge you, right? That you can charge. Most of us, you talk to people, but you don't give a value. You don't give them an offer. Write it down. We're going to help you price that stuff and make you see how you can package what you have, and people will pay you for that. Right? You need to just watch. And I just said, even if it's 1% of all the people in America alone that can watch or can buy into what you're giving, or that can, tap into the value that you have, you will make sure, you will see that you will move from struggling to, wealth. What kind of results can I point to that, proof of value that I gave that person? Right? And the reflective question that I'm going to leave you with is, if I truly believe I was valuable, what would I do differently this week? You're going to write it down. What am I going to do differently this week? So amazing people on here, listen up, queens and kings, right? Until you value what's in your hand, the world won't, right? Your family members won't. They might talk you out of it and they're wasting your time. Go get a job, right? Watch what you're doing in this season. Once you're trying to get this whole process done, you're trying to get your next level. Watch the people around you. I already said it, you need to audit your friends, right? Get like boxes for different people. This is going to be for acquaintance, for friends that, when they talk to me, I'm drained, put them in this box. The ones that afflict me, they might not give you money, but they give me value, put them in this box. You want to departmentalize your friends, your friendship, right? Audit your circle, audit your families, right? Stop asking for permission to walk in purpose. You are not an imposter. Guess what? You are anointed. You are gifted. You're called. Don't forget, drop your takeaways in the comments. I'm going to put the live video for Instagram. The video is going to go in. We're going to put the replay down for Facebook, and for the people, those of us on Clubhouse, and those of us that are streaming live on YouTube and on the people in the coaching call right now, the people on here, yes, the people in the Zoom, right? Trust me, you want to put your comments there and grab the day 3 workbook. I'm going to send it out to you, to Crazier Start Decks for Life. Sorry about that. And we'll send it out to you. And then guess what? And then I said, get the book in my bio. Click the link in my bio on all platforms, right? Is 10 Kingdom Principles to Turn What You Already Have, right? It's a very, very in-depth book that will show you insight with scripture, because guess what? Everything is principle governed. Everything in life is from the word. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, whatever. Open the book of your religion. The word is there. Principles guide stuff. That's why God said that, guess what? Right? Everything else, right? Whatever you do, I honor my word. That's why I said my word will not come back to me void. So you put the word of God back to him, you will see results, right? You see results and you see value in whatever it is that you set your heart to do. And the God that we serve is a God of increase. He will increase you and he will enlarge your course, and he will give you that expected end that you want to see, right? He will give you that expected end you want to see, right? So guess what? I'm going to say a quick prayer. Right, I'll say a quick prayer. Father, I thank you for, that you have placed treasure in jars of clay. I thank you for every clay that we have at home. Every jar we have at home, there's treasure in it. Every gifting that is on the inside of us, there's treasure in it. Thank you, Holy Spirit, that you're going to help us. While we're trying to go through this workbook, you're going to help us and identify that gift, and you highlight it and make us put it down and begin to walk in the right purpose that you have called us to walk in. Our eyes are open to see what you've given me. You put your name there. See what you've given us, Father. Remove the shame and fear, the shame of the past, shame of not, winning. Guess what, Father? We know that people that are winning, they are quick to fail so that they avoid the loopholes and they win at the end. They're not ashamed to fail, because guess what? You are God that is not a God author of confusion. You're God of purpose. You give clear direction. And because we decided to work with you, we know that you're going to help us minimize our mistakes and maximize our results. Help us to pour what we carry and trust you to multiply it for us. In Jesus' name we pray. Go ahead and I will send you out the book. Remember,